All right, y'all, today felt like an entire saga compressed into 24 hours with star point guard the Brooklyn Nets, Kyrie Irving. It was a roller coaster ride. We all considered the butterfly effect of how this decision could ripple throughout the entire NBA. And it all culminates into Kyrie Irving recommitting to the Nets, at least for a year, picking up his player option for $36 million. And we're kind of left thinking, all right, what happened in the mind of Kyrie Irving to kind of set off this whole buzz about, oh, maybe, he gave the Nets his list of teams that he would potentially want to join in a sign-and trade, included the Lakers, the Clippers, the Knicks, the Heat, I think the Mavs too. And so we're thinking, all right, I guess Kyrie wants out, even though he said he'd always be there for his man number 7, Kevin Durant. And, extension talks had reached an impasse. And so then it seemed like, I'm just kind of reading into it, obviously don't have any insider intel here. It seemed like Kyrie kind of had the wake-up call of really what his worth is on the open market and how much money he stood to lose if he declined this player option. Because once it got out there that Kyrie might, opt out or, which teams are legitimately interested in Kyrie, the list dwindled quite quickly, and it left really only one suitor in the Los Angeles Lakers, and that's the same Lakers who pretty much have zero assets that would interest the Nets in a sign-and-trade. So really the only avenue Kyrie could take to get there would be to decline the option, sign free agency for $6 million as, a mid-level tax exception level thing, MLE, and stand to lose, over $30 million. So I think he really, there was some soul searching done here with Kyrie, perhaps some incense burned. And I think he came to the conclusion, all right, we'll give it another shot in Brooklyn. Now, if you're a fan of Brooklyn, if you're in the Nets front office, if you're wearing a Brooklyn Nets jersey, I'm not sure exactly how you're going to take this Kyrie kind of circus that went on here over the past week or two, and thinking, is this guy really committed? I mean, we already were totally questioning this guy's dedication to not only the Nets, but just the sport of basketball in terms of what he was willing to prioritize, whether he would actually just show up to work and play, a full season, whether he's even eligible to play in certain cities. And so going into this year, what kind of ramifications does this have? And of course, we all had the fun kind of moment where it was like, oh, if Kyrie leaves, that means KD might be available in the trade market. And what does that mean? And so, the Nets front office here is in a real dicey situation in terms of juggling these personalities without even mentioning Ben Simmons in all of this, who still has yet to touch a basketball court in a professional setting for quite some time. You add him into the mix, and it's like, okay, what do we actually have here? We just got swept by the Celtics in the first round, barely put up a fight, rolled over more or less in 4 games. We have Kevin Durant, obviously generational talent, entering year 16. We're paying him $40+ million, trying to build a supporting cast, but the one guy he actually likes is, MIA for half a season, and the other guy bailed on him, James Harden, to bring in another guy who doesn't even probably like basketball or is afraid to shoot the ball. So there we are. This is where we're at with Brooklyn. Obviously, not a ton of trade kind of assets in terms of draft capital. And so, if I'm GM Sean Marks, taking stock of this team, I'm tempted to kind of blow it up. At least maybe we see what we have in Ben Simmons. I like the kind of idea floated out about maybe, Durant to Phoenix for a sign and trade with Ayton, get Cam Johnson, few picks perhaps and try and kind of do a rebuild, because what you can get for Kevin Durant now and maybe Kyrie Irving depending is probably worth more than trying again to run it back with these personalities. Because think about it. What is the likelihood that these guys can figure it out? And listen, there is some other issues with this roster construction. You look at a supporting cast. Patty Mills was solid. Seth Curry don't have really a solid big man. Andre Drummond was whatever. Nicholas Claxton, okay. But, does this roster, on the flip side, on kind of as a counter argument to blowing it up, is this team really just a solid kind of free agency, away from actually maybe contending again? If you look on paper, if Ben Simmons is, still a legitimate defender, if Kyrie Irving plays most of the season, if KD can stay healthy, and, you keep Curry, you keep Patty Mills, maybe Cam Thomas takes another step, maybe Day'Ron Sharpe adds something, and maybe you get a Serge Ibaka, you get a Thaddeus Young, some more kind of veteran leadership in there, and maybe you're looking at something. And that's kind of the difficult part here, is that, either direction you go, there is, an outcome where this team is successful. And there's also an outcome where this is actually one of the biggest disasters of all time. So that is how volatile it is in Brooklyn right now, with the three core personalities of KD, Kyrie Irving, and Ben Simmons, two of which are on long-term deals and the other one's now on a short-term deal. But obviously, they're all kind of connected. And if Kyrie leaves, that will, have long-term effects on KD's relationship with the Nets. And, I think Kevin Durant can get you a haul. I don't think or agree with kind of the prevailing notion that Kevin Durant might give you the biggest trade package of all time. Like I said, he's in his 16th year. He's in his 30s. He's had all kinds of injuries. I don't think any team or any smart team would be willing to give up like an Anthony Davis-sized package for him. And maybe that's what the Nets will demand. But, Sean Marks has a lot to think about this offseason. And it will all start with what to do with Kyrie Irving and what that means for the future. But feel free, let me know how you would handle this situation, what you think of Kyrie, KD, Ben Simmons, and these Nets. How would you approach it? I'm curious. I don't know if there's a good answer here, because there's a lot of different approaches, and I don't know if anyone is better than the other. But love to hear them. Let me know what you think. But for now, take care of yourselves, take it easy, and I'll see you next time.